This is Art Television.
Coming up, State of Business, sponsored by
IWS Aviation.
Hello there, you're watching our television. This is State of Business. I am Pamudha Katugampala. We have our top stories. India expands investment in Sri Lanka. Minister of Foreign Affairs defends ties with India. Welcome back here with State of Business. Now let's have a detailed look at today's stories. Now, External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. S. Jayashankar, paid an official visit to Sri Lanka from the 19th to the 20th of January 2023. Addressing a press briefing in Colombo, the visiting External Affairs commented on India extending official financing assurances to the IMF.
My primary purpose of coming to Colombo at this time is to express India's solidarity with Sri Lanka during these difficult moments. As you all know, last year India extended about $4 billion in terms of credits and rollovers to help Sri Lanka get through an economic crisis. For us, it was an issue of neighborhood first and not leaving a partner to fend for themselves. This year, in a developing situation that was beginning to cause concern, the same sentiment reasserted itself. We felt strongly that Sri Lanka's creditors must take proactive steps to facilitate its recovery. India decided not to wait on others, but to do what we believe is right. We extended financing assurances to the IMF to clear the way for Sri Lanka to move forward. Our expectation is that this will not only strengthen Sri Lanka's position, but ensure that all bilateral creditors are dealt with equally. While doing that, we also know that Sri Lanka's pathway is one of a strong economic recovery propelled by greater investments.
Speaking further, the Indian External Affairs Minister discussed measures to stimulate Sri Lankan industry while highlighting key sectors.
India will encourage greater investments in the Sri Lankan economy, especially in core areas like energy, tourism and infrastructure. We count on the government of Sri Lanka to provide a more business-friendly environment to create a powerful pull factor. I am confident that the gravity of the situation is realized by policymakers here. Energy security is today one of Sri Lanka's most serious challenges. A search for solutions must necessarily encompass the larger region. Only then will Sri Lanka get the full benefit of scale. This country has enormous renewable energy potential that can become a sustainable source of revenue. It has the capability as well for Trincomalee to emerge as an energy hub. In its support for Sri Lanka, India is prepared to be a reliable partner on such initiatives. We have today agreed in principle on a renewable energy framework that would take this cooperation forward. Tourism is the lifeblood of the Sri Lankan economy. I note that Indian tourists are expressing their positive sentiments for Sri Lanka in a very, very practical manner by coming here. But there are many more steps we can take to make this sustainable. Strengthening connectivity and promoting travel is therefore a very high priority for all of us. Definitely, encouraging Indian tourists to make RuPay payments and utilize the UPI would be most helpful in this regard. In a turbulent world, it is essential that India and Sri Lanka steady their trade. The use of rupee settlement for trade is obviously in our mutual interest.
The visiting External Affairs Minister took the opportunity to also comment on matters that contribute towards political stability and are of interest to the Indian government.
India has always supported both the political and economic stability of Sri Lanka. the President briefed me on the question of political devolution and his thinking. I shared with him our considered view that the full implementation of the 13th Amendment and early conduct of provincial elections are critical in this regard. Durable efforts towards reconciliation are in the interests of all sections in Sri Lanka. I also spoke of the need to pay special attention to the requirements of the Indian origin Tamil community. I handed over Prime Minister Narendra Modi's invitation to President Ranil Wickremesinghe to visit India at an early date to discuss how our partnership can facilitate Sri Lanka's strong recovery. I once again thank the President for receiving me. I would like to underline that India is a reliable neighbor, a trustworthy partner, one who is prepared to go the extra mile when Sri Lanka feels the need. My presence here today is a statement about Prime Minister Modi's commitment to neighborhood first. We will stand by Sri Lanka in this hour of need and are confident that Sri Lanka will overcome the challenges that it currently faces.
See you soon with more stories after this short commercial break. Welcome back here with State of Business. Now, Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri recently spoke to CNN News 18 on the significance of Indian support for debt restructuring. He did so following the official visit of the Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar last week.
Debt restructuring is very, very important for Sri Lanka and its future because we have approached IMF, but funding has not come in. So two stages which we have to pass. The first one is we need to take a lot of pre-actions, so that you enter into a staff level agreement. On the basis of that staff level agreement, you need to do a lot of things. Some of those things are very painful and very difficult, which we are doing now. For example, the cost reflective pricing, which means the petrol prices have gone up, kerosene prices have gone up, electricity bill have gone up. So it's not very popular. So once you do that, you have to tangibly see some economic benefit comes into the country. So we had another hurdle to pass. That hurdle is because Sri Lankan's debt had been declared unsustainable. We got to get our biggest creditors, bilateral creditors, give us assurances that they are willing and able and contribute towards a debt restructuring process under the IMF watch. So several countries we have been discussing for the last 3 to 6 months, but there was a kind of a stalemate. It is at that juncture that Indians, as always, come to our rescue, and as a true neighbor and a great friend, came out and gave this restructuring as required by the IMF. So we are deeply grateful, and Sri Lankans are indeed very, very grateful to India and the government of Honorable Narendra Modi and the minister himself.
Also during this interview with CNN News 18, the Minister of Foreign Affairs challenged the perception that Sri Lanka does not significantly reciprocate India's friendship.
I mean, these are perception, but to be honest, we have been always working very closely with the Indians, and several projects have come in, and there are several projects on the pipeline. The port developments are coming in, renewable energy discussions are going on, and this discussion will take this into the different level, and this visit of the External Affairs Minister, Honorable and Dr. Jaishankar, will help in that. He had a very fruitful discussion yesterday with a team of cabinet ministers, including myself, and today morning he had a very fruitful discussion one-to-one with our President, His Excellency Ranil Wickremesinghe. So both those discussions focused around expediting investment to the country. So I would say always when you have a relationship, there are ups and downs, but our relationship had been consistently good. And of course, there are areas where we have differed on sometimes. But overall, as Sri Lankans, we are very proud and we are very happy that India is making great leap in its economic gains.
Speaking further, the minister commented on regional development and the nature of interactions between sovereign nations.
A neighbor of a giant neighbor doing well is totally good for us, because we have always advocated that, because that practical also. If you look at it, is the regions which develop together, whether it's North India, North America, or whether it's Europe, whether it's ASEAN countries, whether it's Gulf, the whole area develops and whole region develops. So India developing, India taking great strides in its economic progress is great news for Sri Lanka. So we are very happy to see that. Of course, as sovereign countries, we will always discuss. We will provide a climate which is conducive for investment, and on the basis of that, we will work together so that it will be mutually beneficial for our people.
Stay tuned for the stock updates. Welcome back, you're watching State Business. Now the stock update. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on positive notes today. The All-Share Price Index gained 272.64 points to close at 8,990.79, and the S&P 20 gained 94.72 points to close at 2,818.94. The turnover was 2 billion rupees and over 116 million shares were traded. Coming up next are Forex rates. Well, with that, we wind up for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
State of Business was sponsored by